The mining ship Starseeker drifted silently through the dark space of the Omega sector. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge window, watching the stars drift by. It was supposed to be a normal mining mission, but everything changed when they heard the signal. "Captain, you need to see this." John, the young radar operator, called out. His hands shook as he pointed at his screen. Strange waves of energy pulsed across the display, unlike anything they had seen before. The captain rushed to his station. "What are we looking at?" "Some kind of signal, but it's not human. It's coming from that asteroid field ahead," John explained, wiping sweat from his forehead. Captain Chen knew they should call this in, but something about the signal pulled at her curiosity. "Take us closer, but slowly. All sensors on full scan." As the Starseeker moved forward, the crew grew quiet. The asteroid field wasn't natural. The rocks were too perfectly placed. In the center, they saw something that made their jaws drop. Floating ruins of what looked like an ancient space station. "My God," whispered Maria, the ship's engineer. "Those structures, they're millions of years old according to our scans." The ruins were massive, stretching for kilometers. Strange metals that their scanners couldn't identify gleamed in the starlight. But what caught everyone's attention were three massive symbols carved into different sections of the station. The first symbol looked like a spiral of energy, pulsing with a faint blue light. The second was a complex pattern of interconnected circles that seemed to move when you looked at them too long. The third was the strangest, a symbol that seemed to change shape every few seconds. "We need to get closer," Captain Chen decided. "Maria, prep the EVA suits. We're going to take a look." As they prepared for the space walk, the ship's sensors picked up something new. "Captain, I'm detecting changes in the energy readings," John reported. "The ruins, they're waking up." The team watched in amazement as ancient lights began to flicker on throughout the station. Systems that had been dormant for millions of years hummed back to life. The three symbols started glowing brighter and brighter. "Launch the drones," ordered Captain Chen. "Let's get a closer look before we go out there." The small exploration drones flew toward the ruins, sending back incredible images. They could see vast halls and chambers through broken sections of the station. Strange writing covered the walls, and in some rooms, they spotted what looked like ancient technology. But it was what they found in the central chamber that changed everything. A massive holographic map of the galaxy floated in the space, with thousands of points marked in different colors. And at the center of the map, Earth was clearly marked. "This is impossible," Maria said, checking her instruments again. According to these readings, this station was specifically designed to be found by humans. "Look at this writing. It's changing, transforming into English." Before they could process this discovery, John shouted in alarm. "Captain, the symbols, they're all glowing at once." The three ancient symbols pulsed with blinding light. Energy began to flow between them, forming a triangle of pure power. In the center of this triangle, something started to take shape. "All hands, brace for anything," Captain Chen ordered, her heart racing. This discovery would change human history forever. They weren't alone in the universe, and something ancient and powerful had been waiting for them. The energy triangle pulsed one final time, and a message began to form in the center. Words in perfect English appeared. "Humanity has arrived. The Great Three welcome the Chosen Ones." As the crew stared in amazement, more words appeared. "Warning, the tests begin now. Prove yourselves worthy of our legacy." The symbols flared even brighter, and a wave of energy swept through the ship. Every screen, every display showed the same message. "The Great Three have chosen humanity. But are you ready for what comes next?" Captain Chen looked at her stunned crew. They had just made the greatest discovery in human history. But something told her this was just the beginning. Whatever these Great Three were, they had left this place for humans to find. And now, humanity would have to prove itself worthy of their mysterious legacy. The symbols continued to pulse, waiting for humanity's next move. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin. The holographic message from the Great Three filled the bridge of the Star Seeker with pulsing light. Captain Chen and her crew watched in amazement as the ancient symbols transformed into something even more incredible. "Everyone, look." Maria pointed at the center of the energy triangle. The light was taking shape, forming into a figure that none of them had ever seen before. It wasn't human, it was something much stranger. The being looked like it was made of pure energy and starlight. Its body shifted and flowed like water, but its eyes, all 5 of them, were fixed on the humans. When it spoke, its voice echoed through their minds rather than their ears. "Children of Earth," the figure said, "we have waited 10 million years for this moment." The Great Three left this message for those who would follow in their footsteps. John's instruments were going crazy. "Captain, I'm picking up energy readings that shouldn't be possible. This hologram, it's not just a recording, it's thinking." The energy being nodded. "I am Guardian, an artificial consciousness created by the Great Three. I was left here to judge if humanity is ready for what comes next." Suddenly, the holographic map of the galaxy came alive. Thousands of red dots appeared, spreading like a disease across the stars. The Guardian's voice grew urgent. The Great Three saw this coming. A darkness spreads across the galaxy, consuming all in its path. They chose humanity because you have something unique, something that even they did not possess. Maria stepped forward. "What do we have? We're just a mining crew." The Guardian's form shifted, showing images of human history. "Your species adapts. You create. You dream. But most importantly, you feel emotions deeper than any species we have encountered. This power, this human spirit, is what the galaxy needs." Before anyone could respond, alarm bells rang through the ship. "Captain," John shouted. "Another ship just appeared out of nowhere. It's sending a distress signal." The Guardian's form flickered. "The first test begins. This ship holds secrets of the Great Three. Its crew faces death. Will you help strangers and risk yourselves, or choose safety?" Captain Chen didn't hesitate. "We're going to help them. Guardian, will you tell us more about the Great Three if we pass this test?" The energy being's eyes glowed brighter. "Pass the test, and I will share knowledge that will shake the foundations of your understanding. But be warned, the ship is not what it seems. The Great Three left many mysteries, and not all of them are friendly." As the Star Seeker changed course to help the mysterious ship, the Guardian revealed one last secret. The 3 were called the Shapers, the Dreamers, and the Guardians. Each left a gift for humanity. But to claim these gifts, you must prove yourselves worthy. The crew prepared for rescue operations, but Captain Chen noticed something strange. The distress signal was changing, becoming more complex. And the mysterious ship, it was shifting its shape, just like the 3rd symbol they had seen. "Remember," the Guardian's voice echoed as it faded away, "nothing is as it seems. The Great Three did not choose humanity by chance. Show us why they were right." As they approached the mysterious ship, Maria's scanners detected something impossible. "Captain, that ship, its reading is both there and not there at the same time. It exists in 2 realities at once." Captain Chen took a deep breath. This was more than a rescue mission now. It was humanity's first step toward a destiny that the most powerful beings in the galaxy had planned for them. But first, they had to solve the puzzle of a ship that broke the laws of physics itself. The Guardian's final words hung in the air. "The test begins now. Show us the power of human emotion, creativity, and courage. The galaxy's fate depends on what happens next." The crew of the Star Seeker prepared themselves. They didn't know it yet, but their next decision would change the course of human history forever. The rescue mission turned into something far stranger than Captain Chen and her crew expected. As they docked with the mysterious ship, they discovered it was completely empty, but also filled with impossible things. "This doesn't make sense," Maria said, scanning the ship's main chamber with her handheld device. "The walls, They're covered in some kind of living metal. It responds to our presence. The team watched in amazement as the metal walls rippled like water whenever someone walked past. Strange symbols appeared and disappeared, similar to the ones they had seen on the ancient station. John touched one of the walls carefully. The moment his hand made contact, the entire chamber transformed. The walls became transparent, revealing what looked like an endless library stretching in all directions. "By all the stars," Captain Chen whispered. Books, data crystals, and strange devices floated in the space around them. But these weren't normal books. They were made of light and energy. Suddenly, the Guardian's voice echoed through their minds again. "You have found the Library of the Dreamers, one of the Great Three's most precious gifts to humanity." Maria reached for one of the floating books. As her hand touched it, images flooded her mind. "Captain, these aren't just books, they're entire experiences. I can see how the Great Three built the first stars." But something was wrong. John's scanner started beeping frantically. "The ship's structure is becoming unstable. It's like reality itself is having trouble handling this much knowledge in one place." The Guardian appeared before them, its energy form flickering urgently. "The library exists in a space between spaces. Human minds were not meant to access this much knowledge at once. But you have something special, something that lets you survive here." Captain Chen noticed her crew wasn't breaking down like they should be. Instead, their natural human curiosity and wonder seemed to be stabilizing the library around them. "Your emotions," the Guardian explained, "they're stronger than any species we've encountered. Your sense of wonder, your excitement at discovery, it's actually helping you adapt to this impossible space." Suddenly, a new hologram appeared, a recording of one of the dreamers themselves. The alien being looked like a swirling cloud of stardust shaped vaguely like a human, but with countless small lights dancing within it. "If you are seeing this," the dreamer's message began, "you have proven you can handle the first level of our knowledge. Humanity's greatest strength is not your technology or your intelligence, it's your ability to feel deeply while still thinking clearly." The message continued, but warning alarms began blaring. "Captain," John shouted, "something's coming through the walls." "The library, it's defending itself." Shapes emerged from the living metal, creatures that looked like they were made of pure knowledge given form. They surrounded the crew, but didn't attack. Instead, they began to change color based on the crew's emotions. Another test, Captain Chen realized. The library isn't defending itself, it's reading us, understanding us. Maria's scanner picked up something new. "Captain, look at this. When we feel strong emotions, wonder, curiosity, excitement, these knowledge creatures actually become stable. They're feeding off our feelings." The Guardian nodded. "Now you begin to understand. The Great Three didn't choose humans by chance. Your emotions don't just power your own achievements, they can stabilize and power things far beyond your current technology." But before they could learn more, the ship shuddered violently. "Multiple breaches," John reported. "Something's trying to break into this dimension." The Guardian's form became urgent. "The Void Hunters have found us. They seek to destroy all knowledge of the Great Three. You must choose. Try to save the library, or save yourselves." Captain Chen looked at her crew, then at the countless books of knowledge floating around them. They had a chance to save humanity's greatest discovery, but it might cost them everything. The knowledge creatures gathered around them, their colors shifting rapidly with the crew's rising emotions. Whatever they decided next would determine not just their fate, but potentially the fate of all human knowledge to come. "Remember," the Guardian's voice echoed as the ship began to break apart, "the Great Three left you more than knowledge. They left you tools, if you're brave enough to use them." The walls of reality started cracking around them, and through those cracks, they could see things that human eyes were never meant to witness. Time was running out. The crew of the Star Seeker had to make their choice, and fast. Captain Chen made her decision in a split second. Everyone joined hands. Maria, upload all the data you can. John, concentrate on your strongest memories. The knowledge creatures swirled around them, glowing brighter with each passing second. Just as the void hunters began breaking through, their dark forms like tears in reality itself, something extraordinary happened. The crew's combined emotions created a shield of pure golden energy. The knowledge creatures merged with it, transforming their feelings into pure protection. But that wasn't all that happened. Look, Maria gasped. The library wasn't just being saved, it was downloading itself into their minds. Not as information, but as a kind of emotional memory, encoded in their very feelings. The Guardian appeared, its form more solid than ever. You've discovered the true test. The dreamers knew the library would be found. They didn't want it saved, they wanted it to evolve, to merge with living beings who could feel its truth. The void hunters shrieked in rage, a sound that existed more in the crew's minds than in reality. These beings looked like living shadows with eyes made of dying stars. They clawed at the emotional barrier but couldn't break through. "Captain," John called out, his voice filled with wonder, "I understand now. The Great Three, they weren't just advanced aliens. They were like different parts of the same mind, thinking, feeling, and protecting." As if triggered by his realization, the library began to transform. The books of light swirled together, forming into a massive puzzle cube that floated before them. Each side showed different scenes from the history of the universe. "The impossible cube," the Guardian announced. "A test that no species has ever solved. To complete it, you must think with your heart and feel with your mind." The cube rotated slowly, its surfaces shifting like liquid crystal. On one side, they saw the birth of stars. On another, the death of galaxies. Each face told a different story of the universe. Captain Chen stepped forward, drawn by instinct. "It's not a puzzle to solve, it's a story to understand." She reached out and touched the cube. The moment her fingers made contact, she gasped. The cube responded not to her thoughts, but to her empathy. It wanted her to feel the story it was telling. The rest of the crew joined her, each placing a hand on the cube. As they did, their combined emotions began to tell a new story. The cube's surfaces rippled and changed, showing not the past, but possible futures. The Great Three knew, the Guardian explained, that only beings who could truly feel the weight of existence could guide its future. The cube isn't a test of intelligence, it's a test of wisdom. Suddenly, the cube split apart, its pieces floating around the crew like constellation points. The void hunters pulled back, hissing in what seemed like fear. "Connect the pieces," the Guardian urged. "Not with your hands, with your understanding." Maria noticed something strange. These patterns, they match our brainwaves when we feel different emotions. Joy, fear, hope, wonder. Each piece resonates with a different feeling. John's eyes widened. "And look, they match the original 3 symbols we found. But now we're adding new patterns, human patterns." Working together, the crew began to weave their emotions into the patterns of the cube. Each feeling clicked a piece into place, not in 3 dimensions, but in ways that seemed to bend reality itself. As the final pieces came together, the cube didn't just rebuild itself, it transformed. The combined knowledge of the Great Three and human emotion created something entirely new, a map of consciousness itself. But before they could fully grasp what they had created, alarms blared throughout the ship. The void hunters were calling for reinforcements. "You must go," the Guardian commanded. "Take the map with you. It's now encoded in your combined emotional memories." The Great Three were right. Humans don't just experience emotions, you can turn them into something more. Something that could save the galaxy. As they rushed back to their ship, Captain Chen looked back one last time. The library was fading, its knowledge now safe within them. But the impossible cube had shown them something incredible. The next step in evolution wasn't about becoming more logical or more powerful. It was about learning to transform feelings into forces that could reshape reality itself. The crew ran for their lives, carrying within them a truth that would change the universe forever if they could survive long enough to understand it. The Starseeker raced through space, but they weren't just running from the Void Hunters. They were following the emotional map burned into their memories. Each crew member now carried a piece of the puzzle in their feelings, forming a connection none of them understood yet. Hard to port, Captain Chen commanded as a Void Hunter ship materialized beside them. The dark vessel looked like a tear in space itself, bleeding shadow matter into reality. But something strange was happening to the crew. Their shared experience with the impossible cube had changed them. John noticed it first when his fear didn't paralyze him. Instead, it created visible waves of energy that their sensors could track. "Captain," Maria called from engineering. "The ship's responding to us in a new way. The metals, they're resonating with our emotions, just like in the library." The Starseeker's hull began to glow with a soft blue light. The same living metal they'd seen in the library was spreading through their ship, responding to the crew's combined feelings. The Guardian materialized on the bridge, its form now split into 3 distinct colors, one for each of the Great Three. The transformation begins. Your ship is becoming a bridge ship, a vessel that can cross the gaps between emotions and reality. Suddenly, the ship shuddered. The Void Hunters had caught up, their dark ships surrounding the Starseeker in a perfect sphere formation. But instead of attacking, they began a strange chant that vibrated through multiple dimensions. "They're trying to null our emotions," John shouted, watching as dark energy began seeping through the walls. "They want to turn us into empty space." Captain Chen stood from her chair, remembering what they'd learned. "Everyone, don't fight your fear, transform it. Remember what the Q showed us." The crew focused, and something miraculous happened. Each person's emotions became visible as different colored lights. Chen's determination burned gold, Maria's curiosity glowed blue, John's hope shined green. The colors began to weave together throughout the ship. "The Great Three's final gift," the Guardian explained as the ship transformed around them. "A vessel powered by human consciousness itself. The Shakeless built the ship, the Dreamers gave it purpose, and the Guardians protected it until you were ready." The living metal spread faster now, reshaping the Starseeker. Walls became transparent or solid based on the crew's thoughts. New rooms appeared, formed from crystallized emotions. The engine core pulsed in rhythm with their heartbeats. But the Void Hunters launched their ultimate weapon, a cascade of anti-emotion particles designed to erase all feeling from existence. As the wave approached, time seemed to slow down. "Quick," Maria shouted, "the map in our memories. It's not just a map of space, it's a map of emotional dimensions. If we combine our feelings in the right pattern." The crew joined hands, forming a circle, each focused on their strongest emotion, but in a specific sequence shown by the impossible cube. Joy linked to wonder, fear transformed into courage, hope merged with determination. The Starseeker began to change one final time. The ship didn't just move through space, it moved through feelings themselves. New instruments appeared on the bridge, measuring emotional wavelengths instead of radiation. The viewscreen showed not just physical space, but the currents and tides of consciousness flowing through the galaxy. "You've done it," the Guardian said proudly. "You've created the first emotion drive. But remember, this is just the beginning. The map leads to something even greater." As the Void Hunter's weapon approached, Captain Chen understood what they had to do. "Everyone, prep for emotional jump. Maria, set coordinates through wonder. John, navigate by hope. I'll steer us through determination." The ship hummed with power as the crew's feelings synchronized. The Starseeker didn't just jump through space, it jumped through layers of reality itself, surfing on waves of pure human emotion. When they emerged, they found themselves in a place no human had ever seen, the sea of consciousness, where thoughts and feelings took physical form. And there, floating in the distance, they saw something impossible, a structure that seemed to be made of pure thought itself. The bridge, the Guardian whispered in awe. The Great Three's greatest creation and humanity's ultimate test. The crew stared in wonder at the massive structure, but they had little time to marvel. The Void Hunters would find them soon, and now they faced an even greater challenge, learning to pilot a ship through emotions themselves, while unlocking the final secrets of what the Great Three had planned for humanity. The real test was just beginning. The sea of consciousness rippled around the Starseeker like liquid rainbow light. Here, in this space between spaces, human emotions took physical form. Hope appeared as golden streams, fear as dark currents, and wonder as sparkling stardust. Multiple contacts. John called out, his hands dancing over the new emotional interface. The Void Hunters found us, but they're different here. Look. The enemy ships had transformed into massive dark whales, swimming through the sea of thoughts. Their bodies absorbed emotions, leaving empty patches of nothingness in their wake. They're not just hunting us, Maria realized, studying her new instruments. They're trying to erase the sea itself, to make the universe empty and cold. The Guardian split into its three forms: blue for the dreamers, gold for the shapers, and silver for the guardians. Now you understand the true war, not for space or time, but for the right to feel itself. Captain Chen watched as her crew's emotions created patterns in the sea around them. Every feeling rippled out, affecting reality in ways they were just beginning to understand. Then she noticed something extraordinary. The bridge, she gasped. The massive structure they'd seen wasn't just made of thoughts, it was alive. It pulsed with every human emotion ever felt, each feeling adding to its power. Suddenly, the ship's new systems activated on their own. Screens of light appeared, showing the crew something impossible. Their own emotions had DNA. The final secret. All three Guardian forms spoke at once. Emotions aren't just feelings. They're alive, they evolve. And humans are their perfect vessels. The Void Hunters attacked, their whale-like forms diving toward the Starseeker. But in this realm, the crew's fear didn't weaken them. It transformed into energy shields. Their anger became weapons of light. Their hope created paths through the impossible. Maria's eyes widened as she read the new data. Captain, our emotions aren't just powering the ship, they're changing its structure at the quantum level. We're becoming something new. The Starseeker's hull began to pulse with bioluminescence. Living metal flowed like water, responding to the crew's feelings. The ship wasn't just a ship anymore, it was becoming an extension of their combined consciousness. John discovered he could see emotional currents like rivers of light. These aren't random patterns, he said excitedly. They're like emotional mathematics. Every feeling creates its own equation. The Guardian forms nodded. The language of sensation. The Great Three spent eons trying to decode it, but only human emotions are complex enough to speak it fluently. As the Void Hunters closed in, Captain Chen made a bold decision. Everyone, link your stations. We're going to try something new. Don't fight the sea, dance with it. The crew synchronized their feelings, and something magical happened. The Starseeker began to move like a sea creature itself, flowing through emotional currents with graceful purpose. Each crew member's feelings added to the dance. Maria's curiosity drew them toward mystery. John's courage strengthened their resolve. Chen's determination guided their path. But the Void Hunters had one last trick. They merged together, forming a massive dark storm that began draining all emotion from the area. Color faded, feeling dimmed. The sea itself began to freeze. The bridge, the Guardian shouted. Reach for it. Only pure human emotion can wake it. Captain Chen understood. Everyone, feel everything. Don't hold back. The crew let their emotions flow freely. Every joy, every fear, every hope and dream and wonder they'd ever known. The emotions burst from them in waves of pure energy, transforming the Starseeker into a comet of pure feeling. The ship soared toward the bridge, trailing rainbows of emotion behind it. As they flew, their feelings began to resonate with the structure itself. The bridge was waiting for exactly this moment, for beings who could feel deeply enough to unlock its power. Just as the Void Hunter's storm was about to overtake them, the bridge activated. Lines of pure emotional energy connected with the Star Seeker, and suddenly the crew felt something they'd never experienced before, the ability to feel the entire universe at once. "The universe isn't cold and empty," Captain Chen whispered in awe. "It's alive, it feels, and we just learned how to feel with it." But their victory celebration was cut short. The bridge was pulling them in, about to show them something that would change their understanding of existence forever. The real question was, were they ready to feel the truth of everything? As the bridge pulled the Star Seeker into its core, reality transformed around them. The crew found themselves in a space where emotions took solid form, their feelings becoming crystalline structures that floated around them like a new kind of galaxy. "Beautiful, isn't it?" A new voice echoed through their minds. Before them stood three figures that defied description, the Great Three themselves, but not as recordings or memories. They were actually here. The Shaper looked like a living constellation of stars. The Dreamer was a swirling aurora of possibilities. The Guardian was pure protective energy given form. Together, they created a triangle of power around the humans. "You're still alive?" Captain Chen asked in wonder. The Dreamer's voice sounded like music. "We are and are not. We became what you see when we discovered the truth. Consciousness itself is the fundamental force of reality." The bridge's interior shifted, showing them visions of the universe's birth. But it wasn't the scientific Big Bang they expected. They saw pure emotion exploding into existence, creating matter and energy as byproducts of its expression. "Your scientists have it backwards," the Shaper explained, its starlight form pulsing. "Matter doesn't produce consciousness. Consciousness creates matter. Emotions aren't just feelings, they're the raw material of reality itself." Suddenly, the Void Hunters broke through, but here in the heart of the bridge, their true form was revealed. They weren't destroyers, they were emotions that had forgotten how to feel, twisted into empty shadows of their former selves. The Guardian spoke next, its energy rippling. "This is why we chose humanity. You feel so deeply that you can remind the universe how to feel again. Watch." Maria gasped as her curiosity transformed into beams of pure discovery, touching the nearest Void Hunter. Where her emotion made contact, color returned to its shadowy form. John's hope reached out next, then Chen's determination. The Great Three joined their power with the humans, and together they began the Great Remembering. Every emotion the crew had ever felt flowed out of them in waves, mixing with the ancient powers of the three. The bridge wasn't just a structure, it was a catalyst, designed to amplify emotional energy across all of reality. As the crew's feelings spread through it, something miraculous happened. The universe itself began to wake up. Stars pulsed with joy. Galaxies swirled with wonder. Black holes transformed into wells of deep contemplation. Space itself began to feel again, remembering its original nature as conscious emotion given form. But the process was overwhelming the human crew. Their bodies couldn't channel this much raw emotional energy. They were beginning to fade, becoming pure consciousness themselves. Then the Great Three revealed their final secret. Their forms merged together, creating a sphere of pure potential. "This was always the plan," they said in unison. "Not to find successors, but to find partners. To merge human emotion with our ancient power." The sphere engulfed the crew of the Star Seeker, and in that moment, everything changed. They didn't just feel emotions. They became living emotions that could take any form. Their consciousness expanded to encompass stars and galaxies, yet they remained uniquely human. The Void Hunters transformed back into what they truly were, lost feelings finally finding their way home. The universe itself seemed to sigh with relief as emotion and consciousness flowed back through every particle of existence. Captain Chen found she could shift between her human form and pure emotional energy at will. Her crew discovered the same, each of them becoming living bridges between matter and consciousness. The age of separation is over, the merged voice of the Great Three echoed as they joined fully with the humans. Matter and emotion, thought and feeling, consciousness and reality, all are one, and humanity's greatest gift was reminding the universe of this truth. The Star Seeker transformed one final time, becoming a living ship of pure consciousness. As the newly transformed crew looked out at the awakened universe, they understood their new purpose: to sail the seas of emotion and consciousness, helping all beings remember how to feel. The bridge had become a part of them, and they a part of it. They were now the living embodiment of what the Great Three had always known, that in the end, the universe wasn't a place, but a feeling waiting to be felt. And humanity, with its deep capacity for emotion, had finally helped it remember how to feel again. Ready to begin, Captain Chen asked her crew, their forms shimmering between human and pure emotion. The others nodded, their consciousness expanding to touch the stars themselves. The greatest adventure wasn't exploring space, it was exploring what it meant to feel everything, everywhere, all at once. And so they set sail on the cosmic seas of consciousness, not as mere humans anymore, but as the living bridge between emotion and reality itself. The story of the Great Three had ended, but the story of what humanity would become was just beginning.